comes to you as a special request from one of our dancers. We are going to work on waltz step, which then translates into a waltz turn. So your waltz step is going to refer to the style of music that's done in threes. So you have a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that is the way that that waltz step is going to work. Now, the way to do your waltz step is you start with a large step down low. Then you have 2 smaller steps up high. This one is one that even the younger dancers, even a preschool dancer, could start learning this movement. We usually start this in our beginning level above the age of 6, but again, preschool would work for this one too. Now, the way that I would describe that is 1 big step and 2 little steps. You could also think of it as 1 down step and 2 up steps. And my very favorite, 1 giant step and 2 little fairy steps. Now, you might be laughing at me at home, but you will remember it, won't you? So, the very first thing we do is we start with a large step down low. Yes? Then we have 2 smaller steps up in releve. 1, 2. Then your other foot gets to take a low step and then 2 more high steps. 1, 2. Okay? Now, that step, again, you could, as you step into, I'm going to turn sideways for a minute, you could take a long step with this leg remaining straight, or you can just step and do this leg bending, depending on how much space that you have, right? So you have down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up. So that is step 1, right? Step 1 is just the basic waltz step. Again, you can have hands on hips like me. You can put them out to the side, whatever makes it easier for you. So you have down, up, down, up, right? Let's try that with music. All right, friends, the music we're going to use for this comes from this CD here, Ballet Piano Music for Class. I prefer track number 10 for the waltz step, and I like to slow it down a little bit. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with our down step. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Let's turn side. Down, up, down. Let's go backwards. Down, up, down, Nice. We are on to step 2 of the waltz step. So the second step to this would be to try it backwards, which feels very, very awkward as you do it, right? So again, 1 big step, 2 little steps. But this is necessary to know how to do it backwards in order to turn it in a moment, right? So to step backwards, we have down, and I like to keep that leg straight. You could bend it if you don't have space, you just want to bend that leg. 2 steps, up, up. Then our other foot goes down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, it is important in your waltz step to make sure that you're alternating your feet, right? I don't just want to do my right leg every time or just do my left leg every time. We want to make sure each foot gets a turn, because as we spin very soon, right, we want to be able to use both feet equally. So let's try moving backwards with music. Now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to move forwards towards the camera. I'll turn, right, and turn. These turns here are just for space, right? This is not how you would just do a waltz turn. This is for our space. Right foot. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Moving on to step 3. Step 3, we're going to combine the movement we just did. We're also going to add a brush with our leg and some arms. Now, you could save the arms to be for a later step in this, right? But for now, I want to go over those as So the very first thing we're going to do, now, as we step with our down foot, right, our other leg is going to remain straight, but it's going to brush forwards. Now, if I'm turning to the right, the very first down step is going to be on my right. So I want to think about that while I'm trying this movement. So I'm going to step forwards on my right leg and brush my left leg forwards. Now my left leg is available for 2 steps going up. 1, 2. Then I can take my left leg and I'm going to step down, but this time I'm going to brush back behind me and do my 2 steps. Brush, step, step. Okay, let's try that again. So same leg, I'm going to start with this leg traveling forward. So I have down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up. Again, you could do that in place. You don't really need a whole lot of space to do that. You go down, up, up, down, up, up. I'm not really going anywhere, right? Okay, now, if I want to try it on the other leg, right? So now this time my left leg for me is going to be stepping down and my right leg brushes forwards as I do so. It's kind of one continuous motion, brush, right? 2 little steps up, up. Now this leg gets to travel back, up, up. This would be if I'm turning to my left. Now, when we're turning to the right, that refers to going towards our right shoulder. So you'd be moving your body in a clockwise motion. Turning to your left is going to turn you counterclockwise and it's towards your left shoulder. Now, I promised you some arms, right? So, our arms somewhat mirror the feet. As I step down with my right foot and I brush this left foot forward, it's almost like my left arm has lifted my left leg, right? So, my arm comes forwards. Now it's going to come up and press, right? So that's kind of tricky, isn't it? I'm going swoop and press, and swoop and press, and swoop and press. Right? Now the other side. Yes? I would go swoop and press, and swoop and press. Okay? I'm going to go over that with the feet, nice and slow. I'm going to start with one side. So we have swoop, up, up, press, up, up, swoop, up, press, up. Okay? Let's try the other side. So this time I'm stepping on this foot, this arm and this leg get to brush through. So I have swoop, up, press, swoop, up, press, up. Let's try it. I'm going to face the back so you can follow it. Starting with the right side. Yes? I'm going to step on my right foot, my left arm and left leg are going to move forwards. Swoop, press, swoop, press. Let's try the left. I'm going to step left, swoop the right foot, and bring the right arm forwards. We have swoop, up, press, up, swoop, up, press, up. Fantastic. Now, step 3, I don't usually recommend for the younger students. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot of opposition arms and all that kind of good stuff. So I wouldn't recommend that for the younger dancers, unless they want to give it a try. You know, what's the harm in trying? Now we're going to try all of that with the music. Step 4 is that tricky turning step. I will explain this facing you as well as backwards and sideways, because sometimes folks like it sideways. So here we go. This one is exactly the same as step 3, only we're going to rotate our body. So as we step down and swoop that swoop the left arm forwards, we're stepping on the right foot, we're swooping here, I'm already starting to rotate. For up, up. I'm going to step on my left foot and press my right arm down in front of me. Now this right foot is behind me. Start again. Swoop, up, up, press, up, up. Let's try that again. So I'm going to move towards you. We have swoop, up, up, press, up, up. Swoop, up, press. Okay? Now I'm going to do the left side, and then I will do it traveling towards the wall here. So this time stepping on the left leg, brushing that right leg forwards. So we have swoop here. Now I'm going to turn to my left, up, up, press my left arm down, left arm back, left foot back. And start again, up, up, swoop, press. Okay? Let's do that one more time. We have swoop, press, swoop, press. Now I will do both facing the gray wall for you. Here we go. I'm going to step on my right foot, I'm going to turn to my right. So we have swoop, press, swoop, press. Okay? Now let's do the left side. Stepping on our left foot. Here we go. Swoop, turn to the left, press, keep turning. Swoop, turn to the left, press, keep turning. Fantastic. Now, when we do this one in class, we do it side to side this way in this dance room, right? And so folks are very familiar with the gray wall and which foot gets to swipe and swoop forwards. So I will do the right side. Now, for this one, I always like to bring forwards the leg that's closest to you, right? For me, that's the mirror right now. It's not the leg that's by the gray wall. But my body is going to turn towards that gray wall to make it a little bit easier to follow. So we step on the right, swoop the left leg, up, up. Step on the left, swoop that right leg back. Again, up, up. Then you start again on this side. Now, if I'm traveling on the left, I would start on this side of the room. Again, I'm going to turn my body towards that gray wall, but I'm going to always swoop the leg that's closest to you. Yeah? So I have swoop here, up, up. Now look, this foot is going to swoop back, up, up. Great. I'm going to try it a couple different directions with the music for you. We're going to do the right side, I'm going to travel towards you. Here we go. Down, up, up. Let's try the left side, traveling towards you. Left leg. Down, up, down. Good. Okay, now I will travel towards the gray wall with the right, starting it off. Down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up. Great. Let's take that on the left, same way. Here we go. Starting on the left. Swoop, press, swoop, press. Right side, side to side. Thank you, dancers, for doing this waltz step with me today. I hope this answered some questions. Feel free to comment and leave us a comment of what you want to see us go over or what you need clarification on. I hope this has helped, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Happy dancing!